The U.S. is on the verge of completing a unilateral and unconditional withdrawal from Afghanistan, nearly 20 years after it invaded. And the outgoing U.S. military commander has delivered a new stark warning about the future of the country. Nick Schifrin is back right now, and he joins me. Nick, good to have you with us to talk about this as well. What are the military leaders saying they believe could happen?
Yeah, this is perhaps as blunt and pessimistic a statement as the military has ever made about Afghanistan. And it's also the first time that the Biden administration or the military has publicly acknowledged the ultimate risk of this withdrawal. This is General Scott Miller, the U.S. commander in Kabul, telling journalists civil war is certainly a path that can be visualized. If this continues on the trajectory it's on right now, that should be a concern to the world, and it's certainly a concern to the region for creating an environment where there's even more violence than there is today. So what's behind this warning? The first thing, Taliban strength. Since the U.S. announced its withdrawal, the Taliban have seized some 50 districts around the country. Some of them not so important, but others critical, and could cut off Kabul from the other parts of the country. Second, Afghan army weakness. Across the country, we are seeing examples of the Afghan army surrendering to the Taliban. That's what you're seeing right there, surrendering to the Taliban instead of fighting. The speed with which they have given up territory has surprised the U.S. and the Afghan governments. And third, ethnic and government divisions. These are civilians recreating local militias, and that harkens back to a time in Afghanistan where the country was ruled or not ruled because there were so many local militias overseen by warlords. So it's pretty grim. Judy, there's an intelligence community assessment that Kabul could fall within 6 months, but there are also assessments that Kabul could hold on even if it loses other parts of the country. But the bottom line, the U.S. will not be there to save the Afghan military or the Afghan government.
Pretty ominous. And Nick, given this, is that affecting the timetable for U.S. troop withdrawal?
In a short answer, no. The Afghan government asked the U.S. to delay the withdrawal, but the withdrawal, other than the airport and the embassy, is imminent. Take a look at this video from Bagram Air Base outside of Kabul. These are hundreds of service members leaving Bagram. This is really the heart of the U.S. effort in central Afghanistan. This is the symbol of the withdrawal, imminently moving over to the Afghans. But there are details outstanding of the withdrawal. Firstly, contractors who service Afghan helicopters right now are also leaving, so the administration is trying to figure out where to do that servicing outside of Afghanistan. The airport. Turkey's agreeing to protect the airport, you see right there, but Turkey's asking for U.S. service members to stay there and also asking for NATO reimbursement, so those discussions are ongoing. And lastly, the embassy. Hundreds of service members will stay to guard the giant embassy compound in the heart of Kabul. You see it there. This is critical. The U.S. says it needs U.S. troops to secure that embassy. It needs an embassy to continue to support Afghanistan in the future, but the Taliban reject that. The Taliban have never said that they would allow U.S. troops to stay there. And so a senior military official tells me today if the Taliban attack the embassy, they'll have to evaluate whether they can keep it open. Other officials admit to me they do not know whether the embassy is sustainable.
And finally, and just quickly, Nick, a lot of concern about the interpreters and other Afghan citizens who have been helping the U.S. over the last 20 years.
Yeah, the 17,000 interpreters, tens of thousands of their family members have applied for special immigrant visas. For some of them, this is life and death. Some 300 of them have been killed since 2014. The plan is to evacuate them to a U.S. territory, not to a third country. The administration is still working out specifics, but the military says they're ready and able to do that at any point, so long as the U.S. and Turkey can figure out how to secure that airport. And so at this point, the administration emphasizes the billions of dollars of continuing support, the ongoing training, and highlights that there are no U.S. casualties right now and won't be. But the senior Afghan officials I talked to say that their country is being abandoned, and they are very, very worried about the future of Afghanistan.
No wonder.
Yeah.
Nick Schifrin, thank you.
Thank you.